Hello and welcome to today's video where I will teach you how to customize a list in Android Studio in an Android app. And this video is a continuation of a previous one. You'll find its link in the description below. And that video taught you how to use a ListView to create a list in Android Studio. And today I'll teach you how to customize that list. So let's see exactly what will happen in today's video. We'll take the previous example, this app, and first we will customize it so that our list will look a bit different, but not perfect. And later on, we'll add some images to make it look even better. So let's see how we do it and what the code looks like. This time, we will start from a previously built app. So this is not an empty project. If you want to see how this application has been built and how it works and more explanation about the code, you can go in the description and you can find the link towards that video. But for now, just to have a quick recap, you can see in the right part of the screen in the emulator, the application running. It has a title and then it has a list view with some numbers. And this is just a plain list with some random numbers written here. You can have in your list product names and you can add images and you can have buttons and other things. But this is just to show you how you create a list, how you populate it and how it is displayed. But this is just a very simple list. Of course, you want to do something more engaging. You want to customize the aspect of this list, different colors, different fonts, different sizes, and so on. Of course, you want to put some images to make it more attractive. And I will show you in this video exactly how to do that. But for now, let's take it step by step. And I will close the emulator. And I will take you through the code as it is at this time before we begin changing anything. And you can see here the user interface of the app. It has the text view with the text view title ID, and then it has the list view with the LV numbers ID. Going to the main activity Java file, you have this upper part with some classes being imported, and then you have this variable declared, you have a text view, a list view, a string array, and an array adapter. Then moving inside the onCreate method, we have the text view being referenced, find view by ID. You have the list view, and then you have the initial numbers. So this is a string array, and as you can see, the string is predefined. You cannot modify it once the application is loaded and running. And later on in my next video, I will show you how you can have a dynamically generated list. But for now, to keep things simple, you have just some numbers which are predefined. So these are the initial numbers. You have the list adapter, and the list adapter has several parameters. It takes the context of this list view, and then you have the way to display the list. And for this, we use an Android resource layout, and this is just a simple list item. It's said item here because actually this presents the way to draw, the way to create, and the way to present only one item of the list. And the list is made up of several items, and this is how you actually create a list and you have it presented in a certain way. In the end, you have the source of the information, and this is the string array with numbers. At the end, of course, you have to associate this adapter to the list view. This is what setAdapter does. And this is just a very simple list application. Okay, so what we want to do right now is to customize its aspect a little bit, its design. And for this, you go to Resources, Layout, you right-click, and then you create a new layout resource file. And this resource file will have as root element a text view. You give it a name, our simple list design. And as you can tell, it will be only a text view with some numbers. Here, where you have in the left part of the screen, the component tree, you have the text view. So we'll click on it. We'll give it some text. This text will be obviously changed at runtime. You have it here. And let's search in the attributes search bar over here for text. For text alignment, we'll say center. For color, we'll make some dark blue, I guess. Then for size, we can increase the text size to 24. This should be enough. And we can bold the numbers. Why not? And one more thing, I guess that we don't need to have such a big text view, so we can just say wrap content, but only for the height. Because for the width, we want to keep it as large as the parent permits us, and the number, the text should be in the center of this. So we want to occupy the entire space of the screen left to right, but when height comes to discussion, we only want to have the height of the text inside. We save everything. Then we go to the main activity. And what we want to do, we want to copy this line of code that says list adapter. And I will just increase the font a little bit. We'll comment the old list adapter, and for the new one, we'll keep everything the same except for this part over here that tells us how the list will look like, how each item of the list will look like. And as you have seen, we just created the design for one item of the list. So let's reference that design. We leave resource, layout, and over here will be our file. And this is our simple list design. This is the name of our resource layout file. Everything else stays the same. We save, and then we click Run Application. The application is now loaded, and as you can see, it looks different than before. Before we had these numbers written on the left side of the screen or on the left side of the list, and it was just a plain black text, no, not very special. Now it looks a bit more attractive. It's blue, it's in the middle of the screen, it's bold, it's easier to see. However, it's still not good enough. And what we want to do is just to add some images and make it more attractive. And for this, we'll have to do, well, a bit more. We'll have to change a bit more, but again, we'll take it step by step. So we can stop the emulator and we can start by creating a new design. But actually, before we create the new design, what we need some images. And I've prepared some images here, some resources, and you can choose your own images, obviously. You select them and you copy them. You go to the resource file, you find drawable, and in this drawable, let me just expand it. In the drawable folder, you have 2 XML files. Here, you will add the rest of the images. You right-click on the drawable folder, you say paste, you select the drawable, OK, and OK. Right now, you have all the images already added to your project. You can use them. So let's see how we do that. We will create a new layout file. So instead of this simple layout design, we go to the layout folder, right-click. We create a new layout resource file. And we can leave the constraint layout. We'll just give it a new name and we'll say our image list design. Right now, you can see we have a constraint layout, and in the previous case where we had only a text view, now in our new layout file, we have a constraint layout. And in this constraint layout, we'll take an image view, we'll place it here, and we'll just use this simple stock image for now. It will be changed at runtime. And we take a text view for the number. Selecting the image view, what we want to do is just to change the size of the image. So I believe a 75 dp should be good. So 75 dp, both height and weight. For the text view, let's increase the size a bit. We'll have it 24. And for the text attribute, we'll change the text to number, just for now. We'll put it again in the center. We'll give it a color, let's say a dark blue again. And for the style, I guess the bold looked good enough. With this being a constraint layout, we need to set some constraints. So we select both items, we go to align, and we select some horizontal constraints and then vertical constraints. Something else that we need to do, we need to take the text view and we'll need to change an attribute to make it here, layout width, and make it stretch the entire space available. Okay, so I think this will look good with the images on the left side and then the numbers in the middle. For the constraint layout, we'll give it a height of wrap content. The last thing before we move to the code, we need to give some IDs. And for the image view, we'll say IV image view image, and we refactor. And for the text view, we say TV text view number. With this being done, we can go back to the main activity Java file. I guess we can close this file. We don't need it, the old our simple list design. So we don't need this. So we added a new integer array, and this is integer array initial images. And this will hold the references, the addresses of the images. So I will add the code, the necessary code here as well, and then I will explain what I've done. So what I've done until this point, I've created a new integer array that will contain the images that will be associated with the numbers. The only problem is that I've added only 15 images while we have 16 numbers, because we start the count at 0, 0, 0, and we finish at 0, 15. So I have to delete the first number. This way we start at number 1 and we have image 1, number 2 and we have image 2, number 3 we have image 3, and so on until image 15. Again, this is a static list. This is predefined, not dynamically modified, so you cannot just work with the list and increase and decrease the number of its components while the application is running, but we do it like this for now, just to show you the simple way. In the next video, I will show you the dynamic way of adding and removing items. But for now, you have the numbers and you have the images. So the next thing to do is just to modify the adapter, because this list adapter will only work with the numbers, but this time we have images as well. So for this, we have to create a new adapter. And the way to do it is to create a class, and this class will be created in the following way. You go to project, you go where it says app, and then you have the Java folder, and then you have your package. You right click on the package, you say new Java class. And for the name, you will say item adapter. And you click enter. And this item adapter will extend base adapter. As you can see, we have this red underlining, and if we click, let me just make all this a bit larger for you to see. If you click over here, you have a red light bulb, and it will say implement methods. And we need to implement the following methods: the get count, the get item ID, and the get view. However, we don't want to type this all by hand, so we can just click OK, and the corresponding code will be generated automatically. Well, we still have to modify it here and there, but at least we have the structure. So let's see how we modify it. Again, I will write the code, and then I will explain what it does. This way it's going to be faster. I've just declared some variables that we'll use in this class, and we have a string array with initial numbers. We have the integer array with the initial images, and then we have a layout inflator, and this will use to indicate how the design will look like. This is where we will reference our image list design. But for this to happen, we need to do several things, and the first one will be to create a constructor. We've created the constructor, and the constructor will have several parameters. And you have the context, you have the initial numbers, and you have the initial images. And what we do, we actually associate these parameters that are sent with the variables that we have declared. And this is what we're doing here. For the inflator, we need to use the context, and we get this system service, and the context will be a layout inflator service. So this is the way to do it, and this takes care of the constructor. Now we have to move to the other methods. The first method will be the get item. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped. Is the get count. And for the get count is the count, how many items we have in the list, and we have as many items as we have numbers. So what we will return will be initial numbers dot length. This is taken care of. The next is get item. Now for get item, we receive a position. So we need to return the item at that position. Let's say the number at that position. So what we will return will be initial numbers at the position. Moving to the next method, get item ID. Well, if we get the position will be the ID. So we'll just return position. And the real magic happens here in the get view, because the view will contain this part over here with an image and the number at that position. So let's see how we do that. What you see here is the first part of this method, and what we do, we create a new view, and this view, as I said before, will use the inflator, and this is where we reference our image list design. So this is where we reference the design that we want our list to have. Then you have a text view and an image view, and these are the two, and I'll move again, the text view and the image view. And we need to reference them so we can change their content. And this is what we'll do just now. And we have the text view, and we change the text. We set the text inside the text view to whatever number we have in the array at that position. And we do the same for the image view, and we load the corresponding image. Actually, we use set image resource again to correspond with the number. So the number is associated with the image, and this is where we update for each item of the list, the number and the image. However, when we return, we need to return the current view, the one which has been modified as described before. So we have to return current view. And this is how our new adapter will look like. We save everything. We go to the main activity, and inside the main activity, we will comment this list adapter, and we comment this list view set. Actually, the set adapter, I'll just keep. So we'll just say item adapter. This adapter will have as parameters the context, the numbers, and the images. I'll show you again. This is what we get as parameters. We need a context, we need numbers, and we need images. So we just indicate those. And then, of course, we have to associate this new adapter to our list view. And for this, we say list view numbers will set adapter, and instead of the old list adapter, we'll use the new one. We'll save everything and then we'll run to see how it works. As you can see, the app has loaded, and now instead of just the numbers, we have some images as well. And I believe that this looks way better. By this time, you should know how to create a list, how to populate it with some content, some numbers or whatever it is, and some images. In the next video, I will show you how to create this list dynamically, so you can add and delete or remove items, so you're not limited to whatever you have declared before. And then in one more video, I will teach you how to add some actions. When you click on any of these items, something will happen. Until such time, keep practicing, keep learning, ask questions, and take care. See you in the next video.